What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Cyrus Obsidian here at Obsidian Games, here to bring you another YouTube local diaries. So for today's local diaries, I couldn't decide what to play. So we let the Wheel of Fate choose. We have plugged in ScareKash, Virtual, meaning Virtual World, Pen Magician, and Rescue Ace, which I know you guys are probably sick and tired of seeing, but honestly, are we sick and tired of seeing Snake Eyes more? But anyways, so we spun the wheel. The wheel chose ScareKash, which I'm excited for because I've actually made a lot of changes since I last played it. And I think this version is just a little bit better. It is still very much a budget-friendly version as well, which is also very nice for those of you that are wanting to play the deck. So without further ado, let me dive in and show you the deck profile. So here is the deck profile that we are rocking with for today. So it's going to look a little interesting seeing it. We're playing 3 copies of Scareclaw Rykart, 2 Visa Samsara, with 2 Visa Starfrost for our Scareclaw engine. I know, it's a lot of Scareclaws, but you'll see in a sec why it makes sense. We also play 3 copies of Arrival. I would be playing 3 Samsara, but again, I only have 2, so we're playing 2. And then we follow it up with 2 Primitive Planet Reichphobias, because that's all that we really much need is just the 2 Reichphobias. So that's the Scareclaw side of things. The Kashtira side of things, we see 3 copies of Kashtira Fenrir, 3 copies of Kashtira Unicorn, and 2 copies of Scareclaw Kashtira, with 2 Birth and then 1 Theosis. So ideally, I would like to play Rate Soth, but Rate Soth, still sitting at like $30 or something until it gets reprinted is not my cup of tea. So we just play this, which is also very good since we are playing a lot of like two engines in the Vsauce lore that kind of work really well together outside of Vanadium. This is really good because a lot of your combos, you're more so focused on, rather than establishing a well-deserved board, is putting up a board that looks intimidating, and then you're following it up with the rest of your hand, which is really great. And then this deck is also just really great about breaking your opponent's board, so you're not having to really struggle much with this deck. So that's the Kashtira side of things, and then the rest of it is just a bunch of hand traps, which is cool because we can play about 15. So we're playing 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Droll, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, 3 copies of Nibiru, with 3 copies of Imperm, 1 Called By, and 1 Duster. So this is really just to help break your opponent's board and just establish your own. Honestly, the amount of times that we've opened up Nib in like test hands has been really great. Same thing with like Ash or Droll. Just seeing multiples of those, or even just 1, is really great. But you do want to see multiple hand traps. So that's it for our hand traps. Onto our extra deck, we're playing 2 copies of Vicious Astrolaud, because Astrolaud is really great at being able to just kind of break your opponent's board, and it's when this card is special summoned. So if this card is special summoned, so meaning if you're able to like revive it from the graveyard, it's able to just go up again, pop, and you can keep doing that, which is really cool. And then we play 1 Baron de Fleur. We were playing Borderlord Savage initially, but the amount of times that I went into it was very minimal, so we just kind of dropped it. We're also playing 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. As the last time I played this deck, this card was MVP at being able to seal games, which is really great. And we are playing 1 Superstar Slayer Typhon for our X-Seeds. So yeah, with a huge Kashtira emphasis, we're not really using it to make a lot of Xyz plays. We're using them to kind of just be intimidating, threatening bodies, which is where our Link monsters do come in. We are playing 2 Scareclaw Light Hearts, with 1 Cross Sheep, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Barricade Board Blocker, and 1 Donner Dagger for hire. So this is to compensate for not having like SP Little Knight. Donner Dagger is really great at being able to blow itself and something your opponent controls. I mean, if that was the only thing, if Donner Dagger for hire was the only thing that you had on board, you're able to follow up with your Kashtira engine if you have cash tier monsters in your hand to summon, which is really cool. A barricade board lets us recycle the field spells back to our hand, which is really great because sometimes we do need those searches off of the field spell. And IP lets us go into more of our higher monsters, which we do play 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Apollosa, 1 Access Code, and 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So I think Underworld is going to be really great, being able to just steal a monster for its link summon. Using IP during our opponent's turn, Nightmare Unicorn being able to spin something, Apollosa being able to just more monster negates. These are really our IP targets, and Access Code is just there to help us solidify and close out games. Also, one thing that's really great about Underworld Goddess is if your opponent has an established board already, when it's a summon, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. So, you'll be able to get it out, assuming they haven't used any of its effects, any of their monster effects. You just go Underworld, boom, blanket Dark Ruler no more, which is really great. So that is the extra deck. Let me show you the side, because the side has some interesting choices as well. But I think they're also just really good choices to play no matter what. So we are playing 3 copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, being another monster negate. We're playing 3 copies of Ghost Belt as well, just be able to stop the graveyard. We're playing 2 copies of Lightning Storm just to catch our opponent slacking. We play 1 Change of Heart because we do play the Typhon, so I think Change of Heart would be really great, just to be able to yoink something and just use it for Typhon. We play 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone and 3 copies of Evenly Matched because since my locals, or this locals that we're going to, isn't heavily saturated with Snake Eye Fire King, we're able to use this a little bit better because it does catch more of the rogue decks, which is exactly what we're seeing, is a lot more rogue strategies being played because everyone's sick and tired of playing Snake Eye Fire King. So Evenly Matched I think is really great in that consistency, but if you are seeing more of that Snake Eye Fire King at your locals, you can definitely drop the Evenly Matched. But I think this is pretty solid for this deck at least. So now that we've got our deck profile out of the way, let's see if we're able to scare our opponents into some wins today. So let's head on out to our locals to see if we can put the fear in our opponent's eyes. All right, so that was a crazy good locals, even though it was only 2 rounds. So it ended up being 4 of us that showed up. So going in round 1, playing ScareKash, we play against Heroes. Our hero player goes first. He was able to establish his board. We didn't have enough hand traps to kind of break through it, but we had at least no, we had none. We had none going game 1, as I had said that. So of course, we opened nothing but gas. And gas indeed. So we go and we break his board, playing the Cash Tira engine that we have. We're able to push it, go into Typhon. Typhon shut down a couple of his cards, bounce back. We're able to swing over, deal damage, and then we were able to just kind of control the tempo from there. Game 2, he went first again. We did open more hand traps this time, and we were able to just hand trap Heaven, but he also did not open very well either. So even though we did open up hand trap Heaven, still didn't end up having to use as many of them. So he was able to kind of swing things into his favor for a bit. But like I said, he didn't open up the greatest either. So we just kind of pushed through his board as he was setting it up, and we just kind of cracked it, and we were able to take game. So go into round 2. We had our first ever experience with Voiceless Voice, which Voiceless Voice is pretty cool. We've seen it in the YCSs, but this is the first time in person that we've been actually able to see it. So game 1, we both opened up our worst hands possible. I was able to control the tempo going first. I just kind of held Unicorn Birth, and that's how we played. We tried using Unicorn to search, but he kept either having Ash or Imperm for it. So we weren't able to get our Theosis, which was unfortunate, but we were able to just go Unicorn beat down. Game 2, he was able to open up the nuts. We opened up no hand traps. We weren't able to break through his board. So we ended up taking an L. And then game 3, he opened up all the hand traps to stop me going full combo, and she just took it. So we ended up losing. We went 1-1. Taking second place though, so it's not too bad for a debut for ScareKash, but definitely could have done better. Yeah, I think getting rid of the Duster and having another Samsara would have been really nice. And maybe even playing more of the Cash Tira engine. But at that point, it would just be Cash Tira rather than ScareKash. So yeah, that's it for my locals and my report on it. I thoroughly love the deck. Hopefully we're going in this coming week to go Wednesday to be able to do Pendulum Magician and kind of show you guys what that can do with my updated profile, playing more hand traps, even though it is just a hand trap more. But it's still nonetheless something that's really fun to play. That is it for our local diaries, you guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow, check out my Instagram, and just keep on coming back. Your support means everything to me. And I just want to thank you guys for coming and watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.